Evening, everyone. Meeting of the Township Union Planning Board for April 23rd, 2026 to order. Sunshine notice, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting has been, and stated time and place was satisfied by the filing of an annual notice with the local source and the Star Ledger, newspapers of general circulation within the Township of Union, and posted on the bulletin board of the Township of Union Municipal Building.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lang,
Here.
Mr. Cohan, Mr. Alexander,
Here.
Ms. Espinoza,
Here.
Mr. Frayne,
Here.
Mr. Miller, Ms. Perkins, Mayor Frazier, Committeewoman Terrell, Ms. Khan,
Here.
Ms. Khalid.
Okay, can we swear in the engineer?
Mr. Denay, will you raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. First, we have on the agenda the minutes of the March 26, 2026 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Frayne. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Khan. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza,
Abstain.
Mr. Frayne,
Yes.
Ms. Khan,
Yes.
Ms. Khalid. What-
Ms. Khalid's not here.
Do I have everybody?
Yeah, you have everyone. Okay. Next up, we have a resolution for application 2026-02, 2735 Route 22 LLC. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Frayne. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Espinoza. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza,
Abstain.
Mr. Frayne,
Yes.
Ms. Khan.
Yes.
Okay. First, in new business, we do have a presentation to designate an area in need of rehabilitation from Chris Colley from Topology LLC. Mr. Colley?
Terrific. Thank you for having me. I'm going to open my laptop here.
Will you raise your right hand?
Yes,
You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks for having me this evening, members of the board. I have a short presentation this evening to provide an overview of the rehabilitation study that's before you. I'm going to start my stopwatch so I don't talk too long, but I figure I'm going to 7 minutes-ish to give you an overview here. So my name's Chris Colley, C-O-L-L-E-Y. I work for a company called Topology. We're a planning firm based in Newark. And we were hired by the township to investigate a particular section of Stuyvesant Avenue and to make a recommendation and prepare a report as to whether or not it qualifies as an area in need of rehabilitation. You're going to see this map several times, but generally the area extends on Stuyvesant from 78 northward towards the municipal boundary. This matter is specifically before you tonight because the council passed a resolution at their meeting on April 14th referring it. That resolution included a copy of the report as well as a copy of a draft resolution that the council would ultimately propose to adopt, finding the area in need of rehabilitation. And I'll talk as we go about what that means specifically and what the findings that we make in our report were. Just a little more about the area we're talking about. It's a collection of 20 or so lots, as I said, located along Stuyvesant Avenue. Really important towards our analysis and worth remembering from this opening point. These are properties that are currently zoned in the NC zoning district. And we'll look at some pictures in a moment, but largely comprised of primarily commercial uses with a few residential uses smattered in. So I always feel silly showing folks pictures of their own town when I come to meetings like this, but in case you couldn't picture what we were talking about, these are just some street view images from that stretch of Stuyvesant, and you see a mixture of a lot of single-story commercial buildings, a few maybe even three-story mixed-use buildings, a lot of large surface parking lots, a couple gas stations. Worth mentioning before I get too much further, there is the big cemetery on the east side of Stuyvesant Avenue. That's not part of this area, so it's west side of Stuyvesant, at least for that portion where the cemetery is. So that's the area, and just to talk a little bit about what an area in need of rehabilitation is, it's not an area in need of redevelopment, it's different. And there are really two primary things that an area in need of rehabilitation allows a municipality to do. One is to prepare redevelopment plans, so to sort of set a specific vision, a specific land use vision for an area. And two, it makes properties eligible for a short-term tax abatement if the township council chooses to introduce such a program. What the rehabilitation designation does not do on its own, it doesn't change the zoning, doesn't authorize buildings to be demolished, doesn't authorize long-term tax exemptions or pilots, doesn't mean that existing buildings will go away, but it allows the township to take a next step in the planning to develop a redevelopment plan and sort of create a very specific vision for an area, for the Stuyvesant Avenue area in this case. So that's what a rehab area is. There's a very particular test which is set forth in the redevelopment law about what it means to qualify as an area in need of rehabilitation. There are two parts to that test. Most of my report is describing those two parts. I'm going to walk through each two pieces, and you'll see my conclusion there. The first part of the test is that it has to be determined by the municipality that a program of rehabilitation, really meaning the creation of a plan and the implementation of those tools I mentioned, may be expected to prevent further deterioration and promote the overall development of the community. And secondly, there's a list of 6 criteria, and the area has to be found to meet one of those 6 criteria. So to take these one at a time, the governing body must determine, and you're part of that recommendation, that the program of rehabilitation may be expected to prevent further deterioration, and these words I think are really important, promote the overall development of the community. That's one of the bars to this test. So overall development of the community, very vague term, right? So like what does that mean? It means something different in every place. So to sort of understand what it means here, we looked at your master plan, we looked at your planning documents, and check to see if there was sort of evidence to support the idea that a rehabilitation designation was in line with those and was in line with the overall development of the community. There's quite a bit in the master plan that I found to be relevant to that, some of which is sort of general discussion about promoting growth through redevelopment of properties that are already utilized, but some of which is also quite specific, even to our corridor. So I won't read each of these, but I'm going to read the third bullet point because I think it's very meaningful for this. Promote the township's economic centers, including Stuyvesant Avenue, recognize the unique character of each area, and promote development, redevelopment, and rehabilitation that will strengthen and reinforce market niches. So really sort of clear language in your master plan, I think setting forth what the overall development of the community for this particular part of this corridor might mean, and I think supporting that sort of first leg of the test. The second leg of the test, I mentioned there are 6 criteria that a property needs to meet one of to qualify as an area in need of rehabilitation. And I just highlighted the one provision that I thought was most relevant when we were reading this, when we were preparing this report. And I've undone myself by making it so small. But it says there is a pattern of vacancy, abandonment, or underutilization of properties in that area. And as I mentioned, like when you go on this portion of Stuyvesant Avenue, there are plenty of active businesses. So I don't necessarily know if you could say it's vacant or it's abandoned. But that word underutilization, I think, pops out. So what does it mean to be underutilized? How do we assess if an area is underutilized? Well, we did two things. First thing we did is we looked at, well, what are other comparable zones in Union, and how are they utilized? And is this area less utilized, underutilized relative to those comparable zones? So we took all of the properties that are also zoned NC in the township, and the way we evaluated utilization was by looking at the improvement value of those properties. So, your tax bill, you've got land value, improvement value. Land value is whatever it is. Improvement value really sort of speaks to how utilized the property is. So we thought that was a really good metric, and it's a common metric to use to evaluate utilization of the property. So we looked at, as I said, all of the other NC zoned properties, and we calculated what's the improvement value per acre of those properties. And when you do that, it comes out to a little under $203,000 per acre. And then we looked at, well, what's the improvement value of the properties in this particular corridor? Is it, about the same? Is it more? Is it less than those? And when we looked at the improvement value per acre of this study area, we found that it was about $173,000 per acre of improvement value, which is roughly 15% less than all of the other sort of comparable properties in the township. So for me, like in terms of just a quantitative metric, like that's a really strong piece that almost confirms what maybe the eye will see, that these properties are underutilized relative to their similarly zoned and classified properties in town. So closing up now, I'm almost at 8 minutes. Two prongs to the test, right? Will it promote the overall development of the community and prevent further deterioration? I think the master plan would say yes, sort of corresponds to those recommendations. And does it meet one of those 6 criteria? I think the numbers say that this area is underutilized relative to other properties. So based on that, it's our finding and the conclusion of the report that the study area qualifies as an area in need of rehabilitation. Now, the planning board's job tonight is to really sort of kick a recommendation back to the council in terms of your findings, and maybe the council might have thoughts in terms of the proper form of that, but that really concludes my overview. I'll stop my timer, and I'm happy to answer questions or your comments or however you'd like to proceed.
Questions from the board?
Sir, thank you. You would recommend what would be going in those spaces, in those lots, or in other words, like, would you be putting a senior center in there,
Yeah.
or housing?
So this is really the rehab process is a 2-step process. So the first question is, does it qualify? And the job I've been hired to for this purpose is just to prepare this report. Now, should it qualify, and should the township then decide, yes, we want to adopt a redevelopment plan, we want to modify the zoning, and they could hire me, they could hire someone else, but then there would be a process to say, all right, what does that redevelopment plan say? Like, what uses should specifically go there? Does the zoning need changes to like accomplish whatever goals we might want to have? That would be the next step, and that would really it could be anybody preparing that, but it would be a township sort of driven process to do so.
Is this like an eminent domain?
No, no,
Okay,
it's not.
okay.
Sorry, that should have been on my. This is not slide. No, I'm glad you asked that though.
Okay.
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. No, eminent domain is not authorized under area need rehabilitation
Okay.
under any circumstance. Not part of it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thanks.
And thank you, Mr. Frame, for asking that question, actually. Yeah. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? All right, just for formality, comments from the board? Comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to concur with the findings of the study and defer back to the Township Committee for final adoption in designating the area in need of rehabilitation? Moved by Ms. Espinoza. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frame. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lay,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Espinosa,
Yes.
Mr. Frayne,
Yes.
Ms. Khan.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Next in our new business here is application 2025-19, ADM Investment Corporation, 1999 Morris Avenue. Good evening.
My name is John Sullivan. I'm an attorney with the offices of Bastola and Sullivan, and I'm representing the applicant, which is ADM Investment Corporation. It is the owner of the property, which is located right nearby here at 1999 Morris Avenue. It's Lot 1 in Block 2320, and the property is located in the downtown core zoning district. It's a corner lot, kind of irregular shaped. It's fully improved with a two-story building. Right now it has 6 commercial units on the first floor and 5 commercial units on the second floor. The first floor is pretty much all occupied. The upper floor is completely vacant at this point. The proposal before you is to convert the second floor for use as 3 residential apartments. We're also proposing to add a roof deck, certain facade improvements, and to enclose the existing refuse area. We are not proposing any other site improvements, quite frankly, because the building takes up pretty much the entire site, and there's really no other area on the site for that. The use would end up being a mixed use, which is a permitted use in the zoning district. We are requesting preliminary and final site plan approval, and we're also requesting confirmation of the pre-existing bulk variance conditions that are there. We do have our planner here this evening, and he will discuss those in a bit more detail. The plans that we have submitted are the architectural plans, which includes an architectural site plan. They are dated July 11th of 2025, prepared by Orestes Villela. We also submitted a survey, which is dated September 30th of 2024, last revised June 27th of 25, and that was prepared by Lakeland Surveying. And we also presented or introduced a trash removal plan. Witnesses tonight, I have a representative of the applicant, that's Marilyn Restrepo, and she's just going to give you a basic idea of what we already have on site and how that all works. We have a stand-in architect tonight, Manuel Pereira. He's going to provide his testimony on existing and proposed conditions. And we have a professional planner, Chris Brown. And by the way, the County Planning Board did issue a letter of no interest with regard to this application. So if I may, I would ask Ms. Restrepo to step up.
Ms.
Good evening.
Restrepo, would you raise your right hand? Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear
Yes.
the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, you're going to step
Want to stay at the microphone?
Sorry. This is my first time, sorry.
Oh,
No,
it's
that's
absolutely fine. Can you spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Maylin Perez Restrepo. I am the property manager in the building, the 1999 Morris Avenue.
We can't hear you.
We'll
Okay,
need to move the
sorry.
microphone. Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
And can you spell your name for the record?
Yes, Maylin Perez Restrepo.
Spell it.
Yes, M-A-I-L-Y-N. P-E-R-E-Z.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you are here as essentially the property manager for the ADM Corporation. Is that correct?
Yes,
And that company has owned this property since June of 2022.
yes,
And you're familiar with the site and its operations as it is now.
yes,
Okay. And the first floor, as I understand it, has 6 commercial units.
yes.
And can you explain to the board who the tenants are and the type of business that they have on the first floor?
Yes, of course. We have 6 center and all the corner. The first is Peruvian restaurant. The second is juice bar. It's for juice, for drink, healthy drinks. Next is agency, is for ensure health. And next is African Air, is for hair. Next is RIA. RIA is Western Union. And the end is the nails.
And do you happen to know what the hours of operation are for each of those businesses, What time do they open up in the morning and what time do they close in the evening?
They open, the first who open is nails, 10 a.m. is the first business is open 9:30, and the other open more late. The end, all activities is the more late is the restaurant Peruvian, and the juice is almost the 9 p.m.
And I assume that those businesses receive deliveries of products and materials, is that correct?
Yes.
And what type of vehicles make those deliveries? Where do they make the deliveries from? And you know what time of day generally the deliveries are made?
Sorry, you're talking about the vehicles?
The vehicles that come and deliver, for instance, bottles of juice to the juice bar.
Sorry, I don't understand the question. It's about where they parking?
Right, where do the trucks come and unload their product and take it into the businesses?
Yes, I know they parking and the park in front. There is the place when always they parking because this is a way principal. So I think so they parking there.
Are you talking they're parking on the side of the street in front of the building or in the lot near Columbus
No,
Park?
it's next to Restaurant Peruvian.
Okay. And garbage and recycling right now, there is a number of containers that are on the side of the building, correct?
Yes.
And we propose to continue that in the same location. However, the architect will describe the enclosure we're going to put around that.
Yes.
Because right now there is no enclosure, right?
No.
And right now, the second floor, I had described that as being vacant space. Are there any tenants on the second floor?
No, it's empty. All office, we have this office, the last year was empty when we start to apply for that. So in this moment, we think was more quickly. So we're talking with all tenants, we give 3 months, and all second floor is empty now.
And I understand that second floor in the roof area, it's not in the greatest condition. You're having some problems with that?
Yes, no. It's because the building is old, so our principal goal is try to renew everything because we have the heater, but the heater is the heater old, so it doesn't work more. We don't have extraction in this moment. The roof, we need make maintenance at the roof. We need make maintenance at the basement. We want change all, I don't know how to say, the look outside. So the truth is, the owner want investment in all building renew, and not only for the new tenants, it's because it's a corner, it's a principal corner, so it's like the apple, the town. So we know if this is new, renew, everything seems more beautiful, so the town is more beautiful. You win and we win because we have tenants. The old business have more customer too. Because if the building is beautiful, the people want go for the business. So this is our first goal. Our first goal is try to renew everything. We may little by little, but the truth is we want renew everything inside and outside too.
And you're hoping to do all of that as part of this application, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have for Mr. Strapo.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Mr. Sullivan, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Listen, I have a question with regards to the railing on the 3rd floor, I believe it is.
For the roof deck?
Yes.
Yes.
What's the proposal on that? How high would that railing be?
We have the architect coming up, right?
We do have the
Oh, okay,
architect
all right,
coming
okay,
up, yes.
Okay, yes, thank
And
you.
he'll be
We'll
prepared to
have the
address
question
it.
for that then. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public? Thank you very much, Ms. Perez.
Our next witness would be our architect, Emmanuel Pereira.
Mr. Pereira, would you raise your hand? Do you swear the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Manny Pereiras, P-E-R-E-I-R-A-S, with Pereiras Architects Ubiquitous. We're located at 1116 Summit Avenue in Union City, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Would you like me to provide qualifications?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I'll start. Just stop me when you like. I received a Bachelor's of Architecture in 2001 from NJIT, where I attended on full academic scholarship. I also studied at the École des Beaux-Arts in Fontainebleau, France, where I received the Architecture Prize. I am licensed in the state of New Jersey, as well as about 8 or 9 other states. My practice was started this May. It will be 20 years. I serve on a number of positions, professional boards. Currently, I am the Vice President for the Architects League of Northern New Jersey. I have also served as many positions on the American Institute of Architects. Currently, I'm a trustee for the state of New Jersey for architects. I serve on a lot of academic boards, both high school and collegiate level. This morning, I spent the day at a advisory board meeting. I do this a lot. I come before boards. I've come before the board in this town, the Zoning Board of Adjustments.
Board stipulates.
That's
Thank
And
you.
your license is in good standing.
My license is in very good standing.
Terrific. You're familiar with the site as well as the application we're presenting this evening?
As we know, I did not prepare the drawings before us, but I had an opportunity to look them over thoroughly. I had an opportunity to visit the site, and I'm ready to testify on that.
Can you describe the existing structure, including elevation and floor plans, and as Ms. Restrepo spoke about, you know, the need for some TLC on this building?
I will be very happy to. And as you can see, there is nothing up on the board, and there's a little bit of a technical difficulty, but I am a very old school guy, and I always have a backup. So if you permit me, I have a board that I could share for the board.
You know, we want to orientate them for the cameras. I just want to make sure, Sal, if you're good with the orientation for that. Okay, okay. All right, you can go. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. I'm glad I had the backup, and thank you for letting me present on these old school boards. The documents here are the same documents that were submitted to the board. There's 2 presentations. The first one on top is the architectural drawings. The bottom are 3-dimensional renderings of the proposed structure as we see the intervention. As council mentioned, the site currently, basically, there's an existing building that's 2 stories that occupies the entire site. Here we see the entire site. It's an odd-shaped site. The site consists, and our planner is going to go a lot more into detail on the variances we need, but the site consists of whereas 10,000 square feet is required, we have a site that's 4,493 square feet. A lot width of 100 feet is required. We're at 74.61 feet, and a lot depth is required of 60 feet. We're at 60. Of course, these are all pre-existing nonconformities. We have a pre-existing building. We're not looking to change this building in any way. We're working with what we have. And as ownership said, this building needs a lot of tender loving care. It is in a very prominent location in town, and this is an amazing opportunity to make something beautiful, not only for the inhabitants of this building, but really improves the entire neighborhood. Right now, there is commercial office space on the 2nd floor. Office space is a dying breed, okay? After COVID, it's even worse. People don't need offices. A lot of people work from home. It's not something that is even rentable in today's market. But it is important, and it meets your master plan requirements, and our planner is going to speak a lot more about that, is to keep an area active during the day with commercial businesses and at night with the residents that live above. And we're looking to propose a use in that existing space that does exactly that and not expand on any of the variant sets that we have. So replacing the offices on the 2nd floor with residential. and to walk you a little bit through more on the site and the variances that we do have, which, by the way, are all pre-existing nonconformities that we are not expanding in any way. We have a front yard setback. No requirement is provided. There is no change on that. There is a rear yard requirement of 20 feet. As you can see from the site, our building's right up to that line. We actually have 1.2 feet setback. That's a pre-existing nonconformity. A building coverage of 80% is required. The pre-existing condition is 97%. Again, no change. Impervious areas, 90% is the permitted. We are at 100%. We are compliant with the number of stories. We're compliant with the height significantly. We're allowed to go up to 52 feet. We're only proposing 27 feet. And parking, no requirement there. So again, no expansion on any of these pre-existing nonconformities. They are what we inherited, and we're looking to just move forward with that. Turning the page now to the second page, we see the existing conditions. We have a basement that we're not looking to touch in any way. We have a ground floor that, for the most part, stays exactly the same. All the commercial spaces that the applicant described, the ownership described, are remaining the same. The Peruvian restaurant, everything, no changes there internally. We are modifying the entry to meet code compliance and everything else that's required. There's going to be significant upgrades from a construction standpoint. There will be a 2-hour fire separation between the commercial spaces and the stairwell and the apartments above. So there's a lot of fire safety issues that are going to be addressed with the application that we have, and we address that with the building department, as well as alarm systems and things of that nature. The second floor, which is really the heart of this project, is what we see office spaces. There was a former dentist up there. There was a dental lab up there. There's a lot of work that just is non-existent today. That entire space will be demolished. And we had a roof that had no access to it. It was impossible to do maintenance. They had to go from outside the building. It was very difficult to run maintenance on that roof. What we're proposing to do is, as I said, basement stays the same, minor entry differences on that residential entryway. Instead of having 2 doors that don't work and don't close well, we're going to have one beautiful storefront door to enter into that residential area. That residential area has a stair that leads you to the second floor, and there is a residential lobby on that second floor with access to the 3 units. We propose a 3-bedroom apartment along this corner, a 3-bedroom apartment along this corner, and a 2-bedroom apartment plus a den along this corner. All the designs are comparable. You walk into an open floor plan layout where you could see the exterior windows and beautiful kitchen, living room, dining room space, and then the bedrooms. And just to give you a range of what these bedrooms are, the smallest bedroom in this ranges from 178 square feet to 212 square feet. The smallest bedroom in this apartment unit is 140 square feet, and the smallest bedroom unit on this one is 188 square feet. So these are all comfortable spaces that we're proposing. And just to give you, so that we have for the record the square footage on each of these apartments, apartment number 1 is 1,382 square feet. Apartment number 2 is 1,240 square feet, and apartment number 3 is 1,595 square feet. So these are comfortable apartments. It's what the applicant can do from an architectural standpoint that doesn't require a huge intervention to this building. Any more units will trigger other requirements that we're not proposing to do here. And finally, a very important note, this unit right here has private access to a rooftop terrace. That rooftop terrace is located around, and we're very concerned with safety. So what we're proposing here is to have a railing that is 4 feet high. So we have 48 inches from ground to top, and we make sure that that's not a climbable railing. So it's a smooth surface railing so that if we have children, they're unable to climb up and out of it. So it's a 4-foot smooth surface railing, and it occupies a small center of the roof, and it is a private roof for just that one unit. And what that does too is allows us to have a gate so that we have access for maintenance throughout the rest of the building. As far as our facade is concerned, We are borrowing the aesthetic from across the street. Across the street's a very beautiful building, very elegantly done. Kudos to the architect who designed that. It looks beautiful in town. And now this is an opportunity for the town to look a little bit more uniform, a little bit more beautiful as well. So across the street, we're proposing the same aesthetic. We have this raised awning along the storefronts. We're looking to demolish that and give the building an entire facelift. So as you can see, we're renovating not just the second floor that we're proposing, but also the first floor. We have the existing conditions on the left-hand side of the sheet and the proposed conditions on the right-hand side. We're replacing what we have with brick and panelized projections, similar to across the street above. And we're looking to maintain the same signage as was there before, so each individual sign for the stores will now go on this band that is located across here. To talk a little bit about different concerns, we have the garbage for the building is currently located on the side across here. We're looking to replace the existing containers that they have and provide new, beautiful containers so that all the garbage gets stored on that side profile, exactly the way it was before, with easy access to the street from that point. And I think that concludes my testimony. Did I miss something?
Just a couple of things I wanted to talk about. In terms of the rooftop, I think we were showing a barbecue.
Yeah,
Is
they were being a little ambitious from a zoning standpoint. We will not have a barbecue on the roof. It doesn't meet code requirements. So we do not have a barbecue. However, there are other cooking opportunities that are permitted. So we would like to still have the wet sink there. It's a beautiful amenity to have on the roof. And that way they could come out and have a hot plate if necessary and be able to store that in, but nothing permanent.
And can you speak briefly as to security in terms of getting to the residential units?
Absolutely. So we have a renovated new storefront at that ground level point. And what's comfortable is that we only have 3 residents. So we have a controlled entry point there. There will be one door. It's keyed. That door is slightly recessed, so all the mailboxes fit on the side profile of that entry, so no one needs access within the building. And that's our solution.
And what are we doing in terms of residential tenant storage?
So there is an opportunity in the basement for storage. As you can see here, there are 9 different spaces, whereas all the stores do not occupy that space, so they have the opportunity to rent out space in that basement area.
And then could you speak briefly as to fire suppression alarm systems?
Yeah, so this will be what's called from a building department standpoint, a change of use. So we're going from something that is M and B use to something that is now residential. It's going to be an R2 and M and B use. That mixed use concept requires a fire suppression system. So this building is going to be equipped with a full fire suppression system. And the statistics on this do not lie. Fire suppression buildings, there have been absolutely 0 deaths due to fire in the United States for buildings that have a fire suppression system. It's an amazing statistic. There have been deaths to smoke inhalation, but nothing to fire with the smoke. So this intervention that we're proposing today increases the safety of not only this building, but the entire neighborhood, because it creates a very safe building. In addition to the fire suppression system, it will have to conform with other building requirements that I mentioned earlier. There will be a 2-hour fire separation between the commercial areas and the residential areas above. That's the ceiling, that's the walls. Everything throughout the building has to conform with a 2-hour rating. And we will be introducing both a low voltage alarm system and an interconnected hardwired 110 volt system for smoke detection and carbon monoxide detection throughout the building.
And you've had the opportunity to review Mr. Venetia's report of January 13th.
I have.
And there's really only 3 comments, and they're at section 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. They deal with the need to obtain building permits, have a pre-construction meeting, and obtain a permit from the town, as well as performance bonds if required. and we're willing to comply with all of those.
We have absolutely no objection to those comments. We will be pursuing them diligently.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Okay, questions from the board?
Mr. Pierres, how are you, sir?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
There will be a suppression system?
There will have to be a suppression system.
What is the size of the basement? Square footage of the basement?
It is the entire footprint of the entire building. So the basement is roughly 4,900 square
Over
feet.
3,000 square.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is a windowless story basement.
Yes.
That requires the suppression system as well as the mixed-use concept of the building.
Can you please talk about the rooftop? I have big concerns with the people falling over.
Absolutely. We could address that a little bit further. Right now, we have simply this corner. I'm going to make a recommendation, and remember, I didn't draw these, but I think the applicant will be willing to do this. I like adding an added safety feature, which is that I like stepping back the railing from the edge of the building 3 feet. So if this railing gets stepped back 3 feet, let's say the horrible event that a child is able to climb, get away from their parents, climb 4 feet, which is not necessarily easy, and fall over, he's not falling to his death. He's falling on the roof on the other side of this fence. I think that's a very simple change that makes a lot of sense and makes the building very safe. So if you're willing and you understand that, I'd like to make that change to step it in 3 feet from the side yard setback.
Why can't the railing be higher?
We can make it as high as you want. There's no objection to that. No objection to that.
What do you feel is safe?
I
What do you-
think 4 feet is safe for a couple of reasons. We don't want things to look awkwardly tall, and when people are on the roof deck, we don't want them to feel like they're inside a room. 4 feet, I think, is safe, but if you'd like taller, I don't think the applicant will have any qualms about making it taller.
Mr. Denavia, do you have any idea on this?
And just also so that we know from code reference, code requires 42 inches. So we're proposing 48 inches, so that's 6 inches better than what code requires.
And I think, Mr. Frayne, I believe that the setback from the edge of the roof line, or the building, is going to be a major safety feature. So, and at 48 inches, if you go higher than that, I'm concerned that you'll lose the appeal for being on the roof, and you're looking through a fence. So, at least adults, if you go up there and you want to have a cold beverage or a warm beverage, you're going to be able to see out over Union. So I think 48 is good with that combination, and the fence being the proper, you said smooth.
Yeah. Smooth surface so that it's hard to climb.
Is it glass?
It's, no, not necessarily glass, but it could be glass.
No, I'm asking, like, what is
Yeah.
the plan? Is it glass or is it like a metal?
So as an architect, I always know to give my clients some flexibility because financial restraints are huge. So I don't want to narrow them down to glass or something else. But what I can say is from a safety standpoint, it has to be a smooth surface. It has to be 48 inches, and limiting them to that, make sure that we meet the safety requirements.
I know that there are, just as a comment before, just had a follow-up question on that. I know that there are other rooftops within the center that might have similar features built in, the buffer from the edge of the building and a fencing or some kind of fencing of a similar size. Mr. Nave, if we could probably pull up a frame of reference for like what used to be the bank building and one of the Centurion buildings, because I think they have a similar setup just as a benchmark. And if it's pretty much similar, I wouldn't think that we would have any concerns because we haven't had any concerns with those rooftops.
If there's no objection, we could put something in the resolution that indicates that 48 inches or the height deemed necessary by the building department. That's something we find the standard, let's say it was 50 or 52, that's been done around town, then we could adjust it to that.
Absolutely, we can make it to their satisfaction.
I'd want to defer that a little to the building department, because they have, as the chairman indicated, they've done this a few times now.
Sir, where would the FDC be? The FDC?
What
Fire
FDC?
department connection, where would that be?
Where would it be?
Yes.
So the reality is that that's going to be determined by the water service and the utility company. It will be on the face of the building. We'll have a Siamese connection for the building department. That will be
No,
ultimately department.
Siamese, I don't believe you have to have LDH.
I think we do.
Storage.
At the end of the day,
Storage.
we have a sprinkler engineer, a fire suppression engineer, that's going to design that entire
Right.
system and locate it with and coordinate that with the fire department.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So parking, what's the plan?
So parking's an interesting thing, and our planner is going to speak a little bit more about that. We had office space on the second floor. So office space is a lot more demanding on parking in general. You have the occupants of the offices themselves, the dental lab, things like that, as well as all the patients that came to the dentist, and all the customers that went to the office space. Now we're changing it to residential. So the demand actually drops, and currently there is no parking on site. We have a hardship for providing parking. There's no way of modifying this building in any way to provide parking. And we have the ability that there is available parking in the area, and there's great means of transportation. And like I said, the planner is going to elaborate on that a lot more and better than I can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nothing will be done on the basement, you're saying?
Nothing, well, there are minor things that will be done. For example, we need a fire suppression system. There's going to be a manifold that's going to go in the basement. There are things like that from a mechanical standpoint. The tenants upstairs will have access to storage rooms in the basement. But beyond that, nothing is going to be done to the basement, other than life safety issues.
No washer dry in the basement?
No. We're proposing washer dryers within the apartments.
Mr. Navi?
Yeah, just a few things as they apply to the rooftop. Are you indicating that only one of the unit owners will have access to the rooftop?
That's how it was designed. Only one of the owners have access. The stair is internal to one of the apartments.
Okay, all right. So is that something that the applicant's willing to stipulate in a resolution, that it will only be for I don't even want to limit it necessarily just to that one owner, but to the residential apartment owners at the most? They're not going to rent out the rooftop. There's not going to be any kind of parties up on the rooftop as far as outside people.
No, actually, I think, and I defer to our planner, but I think that would trigger other.
I mean, the concern being is that
Yeah.
could be a nice amenity up there for residents, but it could also be someone who wants to throw a party. And that's not something that we're interested in.
Yeah, the applicant has indicated, yes, it will be limited to that apartment. We're not going to rent it out, and we're not going to, throw parties that are not associated with that apartment.
So the other thing that is, I don't think we've addressed is any kind of lighting up there. So, I don't really see any kind of lighting up there. Is there any intended lighting, and how do we make sure that lighting goes off at a certain time?
So
and,
there
and
are.
stays at a certain, only illuminates that rooftop area for safety as opposed to illuminating the neighborhood?
That's a great question and comment. There are some code requirements that require lighting. So the stairwell entry will require a light fixture above that. What we could do is shield the light so that we have no nuisance light or and I lost the word.
Spillage.
Spillage.
Yeah.
Thank you. No spillage beyond the property line. And that can be written into a resolution, and we'll make sure that we have a lighting design that limits that lighting to the rooftop.
Just one more question. The opening for the new door, how many inches would that be?
For the entry door for the residential,
Yes.
So we are proposing 36 inches, and that will comply with all code requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Just one quick question on signage. I noticed in the review letter there hasn't been any observation of signage, so is it safe to assume that existing commercial signage will stay as is in terms of the dimensions put forth?
So I think it's very safe to say that we're not going to grow the signage in any way. And the design, even though I didn't prepare it, it really lends itself very well for signage along that white band. So it is the ideal spot. There's almost no space to put signage anywhere else. So it is perfect for signage and not very intrusive at all.
And it would adhere to ordinances and wouldn't require
Yes.
variance?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any idea how long this whole project would take?
So in my experience, I would say that this is from permit acquisition to completion, a 9-month project, maybe a 10-month project. That is very loosely said because it all depends on the labor force and
Right.
their quality and their ability. But I'd say on a typical project, this would be 9 months or so.
Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, Mr. Sullivan?
Yes,
Thank
try
you.
that again.
Thank
Our
you,
next
everyone.
witness will be our professional planner, Chris Brown.
Mr. Chair.
Hello?
Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Brown, would you raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown, could you state your qualifications for the board?
Yes, I'm a licensed New Jersey professional planner, a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. I graduated from the State University of New York at Buffalo in 2006, so I've been practicing in the state of New Jersey for 20 years. I'm a member of the American Planning Association New Jersey chapter, also a board member of New Jersey Future. I am filling in for John McDonough tonight. My regular day job, I am the Community Development Director for the City of Hoboken. I was at a council meeting last night until about midnight, and I can say that your benches are far more comfortable. So
Thank you, and the board stipulates.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Brown, you're familiar with the proposal before the board, correct?
Yes,
You've had the opportunity to visit the site and check out the area, so you're familiar with that as well?
yes.
And could you begin by just giving, I'm not going to have you re-describe the site, but if you would just talk a little bit about the immediate area.
Sure. This is a pedestrian-friendly, mixed-use area, part of the downtown core zoning district. Has that downtown zoning, mixed-use feel and aesthetic to the area, with a lot of ground floor retail and mixed-use buildings as well.
And would you describe the proposal, including the variances that we've spoken about?
Yes, this is the conversion. The proposal is to convert office space on the second floor to 3 residential units. Not to regurgitate the architect's testimony, but the 3 residential units would all meet the floor area, minimum floor areas as required by the zoning district.
Okay, and the variances, I believe they were called out.
Yes. So there are 6 required there are 6 variances which are called out in the Collier's. The Collier's report dated January 13, 2026. That is for minimum lot area, where 10,000 square feet is the required minimum, and whereas 4,493.7 square feet is provided. Minimum lot area of 100 feet, whereas the property proposes a width of 74.61. Minimum lot depth of 100, whereas the property proposes a depth of 60 feet. Maximum building coverage of 80%, whereas the application proposes 97%. And maximum lot coverage of 90%, whereas the application proposes 100. So all of these variance conditions arise from the fact that this is a pre-existing non-conforming building that is on an undersized lot. Any proposed change of use on this site would trigger all of these variances.
And we're not exacerbating any of those variance conditions, are we?
No.
And can you speak in terms of the criteria in support of the pre-existing variance conditions?
Sure. The positive criteria, which is the benefits of the application per the purposes set forth in the municipal land use law. Starting with purpose A, the promotion of the general welfare, whereas the conversion of vacant storage space into residential units creates a variety of housing options to meet the needs of residents in the region. Also, as our architect stated, the renovated new features of the fire suppression system would contribute to the promotion of the general welfare. The proposed conversion effectuates the purpose of the zone, with the purpose of the zone being to create a zoning district which maintains Union Center as a viable business area. And staying within this purpose, it should be noted also that a viable population base is necessary to support local businesses, so introducing what planners like to call walking wallets into the neighborhood, as well as the proposed project maintains the ground floor non-residential uses, which creates a mixed-use environment. And the project eliminates vacant conditions on the second floor of the existing building. Purpose E, which is to promote the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations which contribute to the well-being of neighborhoods and communities. The zone was established in 2022, subsequent to the 2021 master plan. The purpose of the zone was to create a zoning district which maintains Union Center as a viable business area. This proposed mixed-use building is consistent with the purpose of the downtown core zoning district, as again, it brings residents into the business area. And then purpose G, providing sufficient space for a variety of uses in appropriate locations. The proposed mixed-use building supports the purposes of the zone and creating that mixed-use environment. To promote, and then purpose I, which is to promote a desirable visual environment through aesthetic design. Again, there's going to be some substantial upgrades to the facade to match the surrounding newer buildings. And purpose M, to encourage the efficient use of land, which we're taking an existing building that is underutilized and providing a new use, which will contribute to the downtown area by way of new life, new vitality, and people walking onto the street. And it's not increasing coverage or setbacks. There are no alterations proposed to the building which would exacerbate those conditions. In terms of the negative criteria, because every C variance every variance condition requires positive and the negative. The negative criteria is basically no substantial detriment to the public or the zone. So none of the existing non-conforming conditions are being worsened or intensified. No changes to setbacks or coverage are being proposed. Mixed-use buildings with residential and non-residential uses are permitted in the downtown core zone. So this is a permitted use within the zone. And of course, because we comply with floor area, it is envisioned within this area. It's a perfect use per the zone. The downtown core district sets forth minimum residential floor areas, like I said, and this is an area that is full of amenities for residents, such as restaurants, shopping, retail, which will further the purpose of this zoning district.
So you went through the criteria for the C2, and I'm assuming because our building takes up the entire lot and everything's pre-existing, that the C1 hardship would apply as well?
Yes, so as this is an undersized lot, we believe that this meets the threshold for relief for the C1 bulk variance, as the strict applications of zoning requirements result in exceptional and undue hardship upon the property.
Okay, and Mr. Pereira said deferred to you the question about parking. Can you address that?
Yes, so there are two sections of the ordinance which speak to parking and that speak to the exemption of parking in this area within the downtown core. That is section 170, 1301A and section 1301B, which essentially exempts parking within the downtown core district. Again, this is a highly walkable area. There's bus transit. There's a number of on-street parking spaces. So we believe that parking would not be new parking would not be a reasonable addition of the building. Especially again, this is an existing building that's being preserved, so there is no functional place for parking to be placed.
And there are several municipal lots in the area that could be available, correct?
Yes, there are.
I believe the one near Columbus Park, as well as perhaps right here in front of the municipal building.
Correct.
That's all I really have for Mr. Brown.
Okay. Thank you. Questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay. Do you have any further questions, Mr. Sullivan?
No, that concludes our presentation of evidence.
Okay. Would you like to summarize
Sure.
and close? Yep.
So overall, I think we're proposing a plan and use which fits well into the neighborhood. It's permitted use, as Mr. Brown had testified. You know, it's a nice mix of commercial and residential. We're bringing the residential to the business, and that's going to help sustain the business community or the business area. So basically, we're providing some housing choices. I think we have a couple of 3 bedrooms and a 2-bedroom. We're going to eliminate the old vacant office space. And the variance conditions are all pre-existing. We're not enhancing those in any way, shape, or form. In terms of parking, I agree with Mr. Pereiras, you know, that the parking demand on this lot is now reduced considerably from, you know, those office type of uses to the simple residential. So I think that helps overall in terms of the downtown core zoning district. We've certainly shown a number of special reasons. We do feel that the benefits strongly outweigh any detriment. Matter of fact, we don't really see any detriment. I mentioned the hardship. The building takes up almost the entire lot. These are all pre-existing conditions, again, which we are not enhancing. So for all of those reasons, we would ask that you consider granting the application. And we did agree to certain of the conditions that were mentioned, and they would be a part of any consideration for approval.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Can I get a motion to approve application 2025-19 with the conditions as stipulated within the proceedings tonight?
Motion.
Moved by Ms. Tamayo Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frayne. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lay,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Espinosa,
Yes.
Mr. Frayne,
Yes.
Ms. Khan.
Yes.
Okay,
Great.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. So I know we'll get that moved out. Our next application for new business is application 2024-09 amended 811 Chestnut Street. Mr. Hale?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Stephen Hale representing the applicant Michael Berguca in connection with the property located at 811 Chestnut Street in Union. The board is, I'm sure, well familiar with this application. We've been proceeding on this for quite some time. And just a little bit by way of background, originally as proposed, this was a major subdivision, 4-lot subdivision with proposed 3 two-family homes. There were a number of variances associated with those homes. We had begun this application in June of last year. We then modified the plans to make it a 3-lot subdivision, and instead of the fourth, there were originally 3 building lots and then a lot for additional parking. The latest modification, or the second modification, was in October, where it was reduced to a 3-lot subdivision, still major subdivision with a private road. We would have to have an association and the like. We've gone back to the drawing board, worked with Vince and Colliers and the municipality, and it's now a 2-lot subdivision. It's a minor subdivision, essentially meets all of the criteria. You've seen the letter from Colliers, and there's 2 minor. We meet the height, it's just a minor variance for number of stories. That's to allow for the parking and the like. And we've also modified, and you'll hear from our architect, and this is outlined very, very nicely in the Colliers letter as to the changes that were made to the homes themselves. And again, that's outlined in paragraph 3.1 of the Colliers review. So again, what we have here now: permitted use, minor subdivision, 2 two-family homes fit nicely in. And I'm sure everyone's well familiar with that stretch of property. It's zoned for 2-family, and that's what's along that stretch there. So what I'd like to do is to, I guess would be recall, although we could have him requalified and sworn in, Adnan Khan, our civil engineer, to take us through the minor site plan, minor subdivision layout.
Mr. Conley, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And Mr. Khan, you've testified before this board on this application and on many other applications. Mr. Chairman, can just have him confirm that your licenses are still in full force and effect?
Yes, they are all current, yes.
Board stipulates.
And
Great.
I
Thank you,
did
Mr.
testify,
Chairman.
yeah.
All right, Mr. Khan, you've heard my overview, and I know you've been at several of the hearings on this matter. If you could take the board through the minor subdivision plan that's now proposed.
Okay, I don't want to go in detail. I just quickly go over the layout. First of all, the existing conditions. As you all are aware, let me just get a better control of this first. Okay.
That's a touch screen too, so.
Oh, that's even better.
I believe it is, right?
Yep. Okay.
As I've often said, find a young person.
All right, so as you can see, like again, we have this irregular shaped lot, and originally we started with 4 lots, then 3 lots, and now we are proposing 2 lots. The topography is one of the challenge on this property, and that is the reason we are seeking one of the variants for the height. Not the height in feet, but the number of stories, because the way the definition works and the way it's supposed to be calculated with the grading around the new houses, it's creating instead of calling it a basement, it becomes a floor. So it's a 3-story variance, but we are complying with the height requirements. And again, we are also complying with all the other bulk requirements. So if you look at it, this is the new layout. It's basically a simple subdivision, a line pretty much through the center of the lot width, bifurcating the 2 lots. Each lot will have a 2-family unit on it, and we are proposing 4 parking spaces for each lot. Right now, they're identical, pretty much the mirror images of each other, except for like the architectural features that the architect will go over the facade and things like that. One thing also I want to reiterate, like since it's on a Chestnut Street, very busy street, signalized intersection in front of our property. So what we are also proposing, we are proposing a turnaround area along the driveway. So that will basically give the cars the flexibility to turn around within the driveway area rather than backing up on Chestnut Street. So this turnaround area is pretty wide. It can be also like it's wide enough to park a car, but here specifically it's been designed for a turnaround for the cars through the lot. One other comment that recently came in, like there is an existing guardrail on Chestnut Street. So when we are designing the driveways for the new house, especially lot 4.01, which is the eastern lot, If you look at it, this is the extent of the existing guardrail. It starts from this point and it extends all the way to the embankment of the highway. So we are clearing that the driveway that we are proposing does not impact the guardrail or relocation or replacement of the guardrail or removal of the guardrail. So we will be okay with that aspect. Again, we are also proposing landscaping along the common property line or the subdivided line, as well as some perimeter landscaping. Stormwater design for each lot is also proposed. The grading was, as I mentioned, like this is because of the grading that we are here in front of the board for the height or the number of story variance. There is an embankment in the back that is a DOT embankment, which is an easement to DOT. And again, we are clearing ourselves well clear of that embankment. There will be no impacts to that embankment. But again, because of the challenges in grading, we have to seek that variance. Each house will have its own stormwater management. Currently, there is nothing exist on the property. So each house will have its own stormwater management, will direct all the roof runoff into the dry well system, and that is the plan. Then I have like a typical construction details for the project, which are pretty much, I think we went over last time. But these are the major changes that we are proposing for this amended application.
Great. And just touching on the Collier's review, I note that item 5.1 does find the landscaping that's proposed to be acceptable. I've just confirmed in section 4.1 through 4.8, you have no problem complying with any of those terms and conditions?
Yes, no problems.
Great, thank you. Mr. Chairman, no further questions of Mr. Khan at this time?
Questions from the board? Mr. Donovan?
Ms. Khan, just one thing. I know we talked about you have a turnaround area. It looks a little bit tight. I know you were struggling with some of those grades, so you don't want to move the house back too far because you're still fighting against the grades. I also realize that you're actually reducing the impervious surface from what you had out there. I'm not suggesting you come back with any kind of revision, but it may make it a little bit easier to turn around if you make that driveway even 5 feet longer. Maybe try to adjust that house a little bit so that that turnaround area could really be utilized. I think those cars that are parked outside in the driveway are going to have trouble. They're going to have to turn about 7 times before they can head out face first, which I think is important. So if there was a way to just make those ever so slightly longer, I think you have a better end product for the end user.
No, I agree, and I think like we have the room. I believe we have the room in the lot coverage also for each lot. So I think, yeah, we can push the houses back and make that driveway a little bit bigger for better maneuverability.
Yeah. I mean, I said, I think even 5 feet would be a big difference for someone trying to use that turnaround effectively.
I agree. Yeah.
No problem with that?
No problem.
All right, we'll submit, if the board is kind enough to approve the application, to Mr. Delave to confirm. Yeah. That will not impact either, well, there's only the one stories there, but it will not create any variances as far as setback, impervious, or otherwise?
No, I'm just only looking at the height, because the height, if we move, like, we will be probably getting a couple more feet. So height numbers might change slightly.
But they'd still be below the
yeah,
requirement.
let me just confirm that. Right now we are 29, 32. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Good.
It will still be a story. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that suggestion, Mr. Navi.
All right. Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. I'd now like to call upon our architect, Christopher Judnick. Good job.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you spell your last name for the record?
It's Christopher Juchnik, Juchnik.
Okay. And Mr. Judnick, I believe you were also before this board and testified and accepted as a professional architect?
Yes, I was.
And your license still in full force and effect?
Yes, it is.
Board stipulates.
Great. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chudnik, if you could briefly touch on, and I don't think we need to go through all the architecturals, and I think, again, the Collier's letter does a great job of outlining the changes that were made.
Yeah, so
that
there
were
was a-
raised at one of the previous hearings by the board.
Yeah, there was some concern on the sharing of the garage being common, and some of the utilities being common, and some of the other things we had shown down in the storage, we had in the ground floor level, I should say. So we took that to heart. So what we did was we went ahead and segregated the garages into two. So now you will have one side tandem parking, one outside, one inside for one of the apartments, one inside and one outside for the other apartment. The downstairs is now going to be used strictly for storage, and it is only for the first floor unit. In other words, the ground floor and the second floor, excuse me. We call that the first floor of the first apartment. It does have a sliding door that goes to the backyard for convenience, and only the half bath. And again, we're only calling that entire area storage. So at one point, we were considering possibly a rec room and a study, but we've eliminated all of that. That was basically what we had done with the board's ideas.
Okay. And other than the stories as mentioned by Mr. Khan, complete compliance with all code requirements?
That is correct, yes.
And I assume also that the facades will, so they're not looking at the exact same cookie cutter?
Yeah, no, so we're definitely going to definitely do something with the colors. We do have some accents that we can, we're going to do a little bit different accents on all of them. They will have the same basic shape, but the colors will be different, and the accent trims will be different.
Good. So that they complies generally with what they call the look-alike type provisions.
That is correct.
Great. And again, complying with all fire, access, and other codes.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. No further questions, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, questions from the board?
Sir, do you know where the other building, the old house used to be? Dr. Christoph's house, do you know where that was?
Unfortunately, I do not know. I do not.
Okay. Thank you.
Before the barn or before the big garage or
Yes,
after the
yes.
big garage?
Yes, I was just curious, will it be in the same area, as distance from the street?
My recollection is that that house was back a bit, and then, because I remember coming in a number of years ago for that garage.
Yes.
But I think these will be pretty much in line with the other two families that are along Chestnut.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
yeah,
I think I do remember an old Google image that had that all the way back. That one, I believe, was further back.
Okay.
But these are, like we said, they are in line with the rest of the houses.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Questions from the public? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And I'd now like to recall our professional planner, John Tykina.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Tykina, your professional planner, as chairman has been kind enough to stipulate, your professional planning license is still in full force and effect?
It is, just renewed it last Monday.
All right,
Great.
congratulations. Board stipulates.
Yes. So I know that you've been here through the various iterations, the 4-lot major subdivision and the 3-lot major subdivision, and now we have a 2-lot minor subdivision. And we know there's minor relief being sought in connection with this application, that being there are two-family homes proposed in a 2-family zone. Briefly provide the planning justification for the minor relief that we're sought here.
Certainly, so we do require relief for a 3-story home where 2-story structure is permitted. This would be a C2 variance where we believe the benefits are going to outweigh the detriments. The case law is Pullen v. South Plainfield. We want to look at the overall benefits of the project as it compares to any potential negative impact that may occur by a 3-story building here. In this instance, the benefits as a whole, the applicant provides a compliant use with housing that's very consistent with the immediate neighborhood. That RB district that exists right there just south of Route 22 is virtually entirely 2-family homes of various sizes and shapes. We have some 3-story, we have some 2-story, and we have some 1-story that kind of sprawl across the lot. We think this is a better plan that fits into the topography there. As Chris testified and Adnan testified, we do have a little bit of a slope as we go back, so We think by kind of fitting that lower level into the hill a little bit, first of all, we comply with the height foot limit, which is the story issue, and it allows us to park underneath the building much more efficiently and be able to provide sufficient room, especially by providing the additional 5 feet that we just testified to make sure that we back out. We turn around safely and we're able to turn out onto Chestnut more safely there. We think that site design better accommodates the traffic and parking that's necessary for the use, and we think the aesthetic is consistent with what's in the neighborhood. While we are 3 stories, as I said, we do fit into the hill, and the two-family home immediately to the side of us is a 2-story home, but it's perched 15 feet up on top of the hill. So we're not going to loom over them. They're actually going to loom over us. So again, we're not going to have any negative impact there. In terms of advancing the purposes of the municipal land use law, it's been to you, there are 2. Purpose E, to promote the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations that contribute to the well-being of neighborhoods and the preservation of the environment. We're not seeking density variance. These are 2-family homes in a 2-family district on significantly oversized lots. And then we also have Purpose M, to encourage the coordination of the various public and private procedures affecting land development with a view toward lessening the cost of that development and to the more efficient use of the land. We think that by coming down to the two-lot subdivision, we're able to make sure we continue to coordinate with the county on Chestnut Street to make sure that we access the street safely in and about the traffic signal that is there. We're able to fit the driveways in at the appropriate distances, and we think by coordinating that is certainly the most efficient way to access the site and utilize it efficiently between the state and the county roadways there. The final criteria is a negative criteria. We're going to have a substantial detriment to public good or to the zone plan and the master plan. We'll have no detriment to public good. These homes are going to fit right into the hill there. Again, we're just going to park underneath them, very consistent with other homes along Chestnut and homes as we go up the side street there. We have all compliant setbacks and buffers. There's no other relief required, and the lots are significantly oversized. In terms of your master plan, the 2021 master plan and the 2024 reexamination, both speak to maintaining the character of existing residential neighborhoods and specifically requiring infill development to be compatible and to meet setback requirements. Additionally, the plans have a goal to support desirable development. Under that goal is an objective to encourage the reuse of vacant properties that is in character and reduces traffic. So again, the proposed 2-family homes on the street do not impair these goals. It's a permitted use in the district. We think the minimal height relief will allow us to most efficiently access and park the site. And for these reasons, I believe you have the ability to grant the requisite relief. I'm available for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tekena. No further questions at this time, Mr. Chairman?
Questions from the board? Questions from the public? All right.
We have no further witnesses at this time, Mr. Chairman. Any that have testified so far are here if the board has further questions.
Okay. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Okay, with that, can I get a motion to approve the application 2024-09 amended with the condition that Mr. Donave put into place with regards to the driveway? Moved by Ms. Khan, seconded by Mr. Alexander. Roll call, please.
Chairman Lay?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Espinosa?
Yes.
Mr. Frayne?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you
truly
very much.
appreciate the board working with us over the time and the board professionals and municipality to get this project moving. Look forward to
Likewise.
seeing development there.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Have a great
Hale.
night.
All right. All right, with no further new business, can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Frayne. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Alexander. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.